which is, you ready for this? We should have a drum roll. In the world of Torah, this is exciting. We learned the principle several times in Shas of Cherev Hareu Kecholo, which means that if a sword touches a mace, then it becomes an Avi Avos Hatuma. If a sword touches a Avatuma, it becomes an Avatuma. It doesn't go down a notch. The Rambam holds that applies to all kelim, not just the sword. Any keli has this halacha.
Any keli. Doesn't make a difference in material?
Makes no difference. Obviously, it doesn't apply to chicheres, but wood, leather, nothing, everything else, it makes no difference. Isn't that shocking?
It doesn't make any sense.
That's the right. Funny you should say that. It's exactly what the Ravid says. But the Rambam says different. The Rambam says, Kalim shenit move b'meis, bein b'maga, bein b'oel, harein lanogea b'en, kenogea b'meis hatzmo. Anybody just touching the mace. It goes on. It brings out Shem R'chalu Chereb over mace. Mipi Shmuel lo amdu. From this they learned Shachereb Kemeis Vehu Hadin L'Shar Kelim Ben Klei Matchos Ben Klei Shetef. It's wood. Ubegadim. No matter what, any kelim. The Rambam of the Ravid says no way. He says it's true when perhaps he says that it's a new concept for us, but Tuma B'chiburin says when you touch the mace via the keli, so you touch a mace via a glove, then the keli transmits the Tuma, but only when it's B'chuber to the mace, not when it's severed from the mace. But the Rav and Rambam holds an amazing concept that, again, the kli which once touched the mace always remains an Avi Avos Hatuma, no matter what it's made out of. Okay? Because from our Gemara, and the Meshech Chochmah said that, or Sameach says several other Mishnayos, of course, in Taros, which who's going to know or remember. But he says that's from our Gemara and from the Mishnayos. So this is a mind-boggling thing, which I never knew, and the Rambam passed me so way. What?
It's disturbing, I mean, that seems like so dramatic.
Yes.
Somehow we should have known.
We should have known it, right? No, it's obviously something which we should have known, but we didn't. But that's why we come, to learn new and exciting things every day. So, I don't think on the internet everybody's going to be so misspelled from it, but it made my day. Now, take...
It's only for mace, not for sheretz.
Only for mace, right. Chalal cherev, chalal, right. So now, let's take it then from 4 lines above the Mishnah, on Zayin Meralf. Is tani tomei mace, is tani b'tomei mace. Or Sameach explains the Gemara, which we're about to learn based on the principle which I just laid out for you. So some will say that our Mishnah is talking about a ner, which touched a mace, mace itself. Tomei mace. The ner is tomei because it touched the mace. Is tani b'tomei mace. That the ner didn't touch a mace, but the ner touched somebody who was Tmei Mace. Okay? Manda Mar Tmei Mace, he said it's Tmei Mace, that the ner touched the mace. B'kli, here the Or Sameach changed it based on the Rambam. B'kli Cheres. Because Cheres goes down a notch. Cheres does go down a notch. So there it's talking about where the mace, somehow the mace, obviously it didn't touch. It's talking about Tumas Ohel, right? In the same room where there was a mace, there was a kli cheres. The inside of kli cheres, however, does not become an Avi Avos Hatuma. Chalal cherev does not apply to that. Says the Meshech Chochmah, it doesn't even become an Av. It becomes a Rishon. And he brings rayas for that. I forget what his rayas are. But the inside, the Rambam. But I forget where the Rambam gets it from. But if the inside of a kli cheres doesn't become an Av, even though it's an Oel HaMace, it only becomes a Rishon. So it's as if the mace is the Av, the Avi Avos, the room is the Av, and then the inside of the Keli becomes a Rishon. Okay? So then, whatever the oil, which is now in the candle, in the Kli Cheres, will become a what? Sheni. Right? So you take oil which was possible B'Tvul Yom, means it was Shlishi, you put it in this Ner Shel Cheres, it becomes a Sheni. And nonetheless, the Mishnah's Ma'ar Akiva's Matir. Mandamar b'Tamei Meis, you said that it touched, actually we're talking about a Keli, which touched the person who touched the mace, that's B'Klei Matchus. It's talking about metal vessels, or for that matter, says the Meshech Chochmah, any other vessel. Well, so what is it in that case? What do we say? The vessel is itself now a of. So what's the oil going to become which is within it? A Rishon. My timer. Why is there a difference in the principles? It says all kli pasuach. Oh, this is raw proof. Because wait a minute, what an idiot I am. This is a Meshech Chochmah proof. This line it says chol kli pasuach. What? Kli cheres, right? Is any kli pasuach, any open vessel of cheres and all a mace v'goymer tamei. Who? What does tamei mean? It becomes tamei. Hu tamei veino nasa avatuma l'tamei. It becomes tamei. It does not become an of to be metamei others. By chalal cherev, it says yitma. Any other vessel which becomes tamei can become an av because it says there yitma. Yitma means it becomes tamei, but it also is yitamei acherim. So that means that any vessel which touches, which any other vessel can become an av atuma actually. But a kli cheres, it's terminal. It can't be metamei others. It's tamei. Now, of course, the midrabanan can be metamei other things, right? We know that because a rishon can make a sheni drabanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, can even make a sheni d'oraisa. But I think our Gemara is going like Bar Kapara and saying that tamei means it itself is tamei. It's not metamei acherim. So therefore, that is the definition of a rishon l'tuma like Bar Kapara. And that's the kli cheres. The kli cheres can only become, therefore, a rishon. It can't become an of because of the word tamei as opposed to yitma. Okay? So that's basically in a nutshell what the Gemara is saying here. Alright? Next Mishnah. Amrei Meir. Meir said, Midivreim lamadu. From their words, we don't know which words Meir is referring to. The Gemara is going to talk about that. Midivreim lamadu, from their words we learned, Shesarf in Truma Ta'era. You can burn to truma which is tar, imat meya with truma which is tamei on Pesach. Amar lo Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yosef said, "Eino yamida." No, it's not true. And why it's not true, also tomorrow we'll discuss. Modim Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shua both concede shesarf in zulatzma that if you have tamei truma and Torah truma, even though they're both chametz, you have to burn them separately. Aman echlaku. Where is there a machlokas? If you have chametz which is totally, it's suffix tamei and tmeya. Rabbi Lezer Omer still tisari zulatz. You have to burn each one independently. Rabbi Shua Omer shtein kachas. You can burn both of them together. Now, says the Gemara, Mahu bePesach. What does it mean you can burn them together on Pesach? Not on Pesach itself. Pesach obviously can burn together. So about boss or even on the 14th day of Nisan. Now it says the Lieberman says, if he brings down from a Melech Shlomo, there's a big chiddush because Yerushalmi holds chametz in our Pesach is only Yosser, according to Meir, who's the author of this Mishnah, is only Yosser D'Rabbanan. It only becomes Yosser D'Oraisa an hour before Shkia. So it's a very big chiddush, but nonetheless our Mishnah say that on the 14th day, when imminently it's going to become Yosser, you can burn both together, chametz truma which is tar and chametz truma which is tamei. The Gemara is going to pick up on this. The Meir's approach later on. Amar Rabbi Yechna. Yechna said, "Midivrei Rabbi Akiva, Divrei B'Chadis Kanakonim." Rabbi Meir said, "Midivreim lamanu." From their words, we learned you can burn the truma Torah and truma tmeya. From whose is that? From Rabbi Akiva B'Chadis Kanakonim. Rabbi Akiva said that you can burn oil of truma which became puzzled full yom in a nair, which is either Rishon or an Av or Rishon, right? Which would make it either Rishon or Sheni. And Rabbi Chinas Kohanim said that the Kohanim burned stuff which became Tamei, meat which was burnt Tamei Ba'ava Tuma, with meat which became Tamei B'Vlada Tuma. So from both of their words, where they permitted adding Tuma to that which is already Tamei, for that we learn they can burn chametz truma, which is tamei, with chametz truma, which is tor, which of course makes no sense, because there we're talking about tamei with tamei, more tamei with less tamei. Here we're talking about tamei with tor. How can you extrapolate? The Gemara is going to ask that momentarily. How's the extrapolation? We learn after the words of Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Now, Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua do not appear in our Mishnah. This is the way the Bavli said. It's not Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua in our Mishnah. It's Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua elsewhere in Shas. Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua elsewhere in Shas say, you remember this in a moment, if you have a vineyard, a wine press, and below you have a storage vat, and storage vat you have Tamei Chulin, and in the wine press you have Tahar Truma, and it's the vat broke in the upper wine press, and the Truma is now flowing downstream. When it falls over the top, it's going to become Tamei, and it's going to become unfit, right? So the question is, can you save? What do you do with the Truma? Do you have to let it roll down? Can you stop rolling down? Can it be Tamei Biyadayim? And so on and so forth. So there, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua both agree if you could save a revi's. Rabbi Yeshua says that you're allowed to be matame biyad. Since imminently it's going to fall down into the bottom, bottom anyway. Become tame. You mean matame it now, before it falls. Yeah. Was it Meizer Shani or Trumas? Trumas. But the Bible brings it down here. He was going to. So he says from Yehoshua, who says it can be metame biyad when it's imminently going to become tummy when it rolls downhill naturally anyway. So to here you can burn the chametz here, even though with the chametz which is truma ta'era, with chametz which is truma t'meah, because imminently it's going to become asher v'ano anyway. So what does it all matter? Okay. So it says Gemara, I'm Rabbi Zira, Kumi Rabbi Yasa. Rabbi Zira said in front of Rabbi Yasi, Al Daite here, Lieberman switches it based on, forget on whom. I forget based on whom. It says Al Daite to Rabbi Reish Lakish Nicha. According to Reish Lakish, it's good. In other words, according to Reish Lakish, the continuation of the Mishnah is good. Because then the Mishnah goes on and say, but Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua both concede. Right? The Mishnah goes on and says, Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua both concede that the Sarfin Zula Atzma of Zula Atzma. Rabbi Yossi argues and he says, Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua both concede that you have to burn each one independently. So then the Mishnah flows. Rameir said, we learn out from Rabbi Yeshua that you can burn the Torah with the Tamei. Comes along Rabbi Yossi and says, no. Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua both concede you can't do that. So the Mishnah flows. But like Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Meir was not learning for Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Meir was learning for Rabbi Chanina's Kohanim and Rabbi Akiva in the previous Mishnayos. So how did Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua make their way into this Mishnah? It sounds like we were discussing it previously, and the point is they concede on something. That's not true according to Rabbi Yochanan. When Rabbi Yochanan previously weren't discussing it, we were talking about Rabbi Chanina's Kohanim and Rabbi Akiva. So Adaitid Reish Lakish Nicha, Adaitid Rabbi Yochanan, Maba Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shulakan. It says more. Amalei. Rabbi Yochanan responded Tanoin Inun that the Seifa is another Tana. In other words, you're right. There are two Mishnayos which are randomly juxtaposed here together in the Pesachim, neither of which has to do with the other. Right? Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua are coming from left field because the second part of the Mishnah, the Seifa, is another Tana than the first Tana, than the author of the first Mishnah. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yochanan said, "How come everybody agrees? B'shishasar on the 16th day of Nisan, which is of course Pesach proper, shesar mitruma tmeya tarim tmeya. So this is the Raisa. Both of them you can burn both together." Rabbi Yossi Makshay. Rabbi Yossi asked, however, Lama Rabbi Yassi Amar Eina Amida. Why did Rabbi Yassi say that you can't do it on Erev Pesach? Right? So it says, Rabbi Yossi do Shama. I'll tell you. Rabbi Yossi heard Dama Rabbi Yochanan, that which Rabbi Yochanan said. Midive well, Rabbi Yossi asked a question. What's Rabbi Yossi? Okay, it's confusing. Rabbi Yossi the Amoira, who asked, what does Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah mean? he was asking this question because he only heard Rabbi Yochanan and yeah, okay. He heard Rabbi Yochanan say that, this is complicated. He heard Rabbi Yochanan say that Rabbi Meir in our Mishnah is learning from Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim. And he heard that which Bar Kapora said, that Ava Tumas Doraisa and Vlada Tumas Drabona. And he did not hear the other thing Rabbi Yochanan said, that both Doraisa. He heard again. He heard that Rabbi Meir is learning from Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim, Rabbi Akiva. He heard Bar Kapora that Vlada Tumas Drabona. He did not hear Rabbi Yochanan argues and holds Vlada Tumas Doraisa. So he's saying, I don't understand Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi says, Ein Amida, you can't learn out Erev Pesach, Truma Tahera, with Truma Tmeya, from the case of Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim and Rabbi Akiva. As Rabbi Yossi, you certainly can. Here it's the Rabbanan and the Raisa, and there it's the Rabbanan and the Raisa. By the case of Vlada Tuma, it's a Rabbanan, which you can burn with Tami Daraisa. You can destroy an Issa Darabanan together with Issa Daraisa. So to your Erev Pesach after Chatzos, you can destroy an Issa Darabanan with an Issa Daraisa. So he said, why is Rabbi Yossi and our Mishnah arguing? Rabbi Meir is 100% accurate. You can learn out very well from Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim and Rabbi Akiva. Again, as the Gemara said, he did not hear Rabbi Yochanan's own pshat, because Rabbi Yochanan knows that Vlada Tum is also Doraisa. Had he heard that, he would understand where Rabbi Yossi is complaining. Rabbi Yossi is complaining, the other two are Doraisa and Doraisa. You want to learn from Doraisa, meaning Tomei Doraisa, with Tomei Doraisa, just a lower level of Tumah, to Chometz Doraisa, Tomei Doraisa with Chometz, which is only the Rabbanon. How can you extrapolate that way? Okay? So again, let's see that inside. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Maksha. Rabbi Yossi asks, Lama Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi asks, why does Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah say Eino Amida? The Rabbi is incorrect. Now, what was the premise of Rabbi Yossi, that Morris question? Rabbi Yossi, do Shama I heard, Dom Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan said, Mi Divrei Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Divrei Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim. Rabbi Meir learned this halach of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim. Fushama, he also heard the Bar Kapora, Ma Abatuma, Dvar Torah, Abatuma said the Raisa, Vladatuma Divrei Mr. Rabbanan. The Losha right in here, the Mar Rabbi Yochanan said, Bein Zev said, Dvar Torah, both the Raisa. Who Makshe? And based on that, Rabbi Yossi Amor is asking, Kashem Shemutal Yisrof Isser Torah into Tumas Torah, just like you're allowed to burn the Isser Doraisa with the Tumah Doraisa, right? Shekain Sorfim, how do I know that? You're allowed to burn Isser Doraisa, Tumas Doraisa, that's a Chometz Doraisa. You're allowed to burn with Truma Tmeya Doraisa. And how do I know that? Shekain Sorfim, true Tumas Torah in Tumas Torah. Because you burn that which is Tomei Doraisa on a more severe level, with that which is Tomei Doraisa on a less severe level, Kach Yeh Mutter, so too it should be Mutter, Lisrof Issa Divrayim, to burn Chometz, the Rabbanon, in Tumas Torah, with something which is Tomei Doraisa, Chometz Rabbanon Pesach with Truma Tmeya. Why? Shekei Tzarfim Tumas Divrayim and Tumas Torah, right? Because we find that you're allowed to burn that which is Tomei Doraisa, which that is Tomei Rabbanon. Again, all following Bar Kapora, that there's the Vlada Tumas all the Rabbanon. Says Gemara, Ella Shanya Hi Isser Shanya Hi Tuma. So that's the case. There, what's Rabbi Yossi the Tana's logic? Rabbi Yossi the Tana says. This is Rabbi Yossi that I'm already explaining. What is Rabbi Yossi the Tana's problem with Rabbi Meir? Rabbi Meir said we extrapolate from Rabbi Chinas Kohen HaKohanim and Rabbi Akiva that just like there you can burn a Tumah Doraisa with a Tumah D'Rabbanan, here too we can burn a Tumah Doraisa with an Issa D'Rabbanan. What's Rabbi Yossi's question on this? What is Rabbi Yossi the Tana's question on this? Says Rabbi Yossi the Amora's question is, how do you know you can compare Tumah Doraisa with Tumah D'Rabbanan to Tuma D'Oraisa with Isser D'Rabbanan. Maybe Tuma and Tuma, since they're similar, albeit one's D'Oraisa, one's D'Rabbanan, you can burn them together. But who says where it's Tuma D'Oraisa with an Isser D'Rabbanan, meaning Chometz and Erev Pesach, that you can burn both of those together? That's Rabbi Yossi, the Tana's objection to Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir is fine in the abstract until you realize that Rabbi Meir is comparing Tuma with Tuma, D'Oraisa D'Rabbanan, to Tuma with Isser D'Oraisa D'Rabbanan. Maybe they're different. Okay? Vam Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yossi is the name Rabbi Yochanan. Hakol modim, everybody agrees, b'shisha asar, on the 16th day of Nisan, meaning on Pesach proper, shesarfim truma tohara utmeya, that you can burn truma tohar and tamei. There, of course, Pesach is already Issa D'Oraisa. That I can see. That I hear. Issa D'Oraisa with Tuma D'Oraisa, that makes sense. You can burn together, right? Kishem shelo chilakto loro ben Issa Torah l'Tumas Torah, just like you didn't draw the distinction between an Issa D'Oraisa and a Tuma D'Oraisa, shekain sorfim to truma. Shekain sorfim truma to Tumas Torah in Tumas Torah, just like you burn. Just like you burn Tuma D'Oraisa with Tuma D'Oraisa, even on different levels. Kach lo ta'achlok lanu. So it says where, but wait a minute. So if that's, you know what, this is a question again. For me, Rabbi is again a question. Well, actually, that's the statement. Then the Gemara asks the question. Period. Now asking more question based on this. Just like on Pesach proper, you don't draw a distinction even though one is an Isser D'Oraisa of Chometz and the other is a Tuma D'Oraisa of Truma Tmeya. Nevertheless, you burn them together. Why? Because you can burn that which is Tommy D'Oraisa, that which is Tommy D'Oraisa, so you can burn that which is Asur D'Oraisa with that which is Tommy D'Oraisa. Kach, so too, don't draw a distinction ben Isser Tivreim l'Tumas Torah. The same question again, Rabbi Yossi. Why does Rabbi Yossi draw a distinction that Isser D'Rabbanan cannot be burned with a Tommy D'Oraisa if he agrees Shekain Sarfin Tumas Tivreim in Tumas Torah, that he can burn a Tommy D'Rabbanan with a Tommy D'Oraisa? Now, let's see, the Gemara is asked the same question just from a different perspective, different angle. It's saying, I don't understand something. In Rabbi Yossi the Tana, the Tana is upset. He says you can't draw a parallel between Isser and Tumah. They're not comparable. I'll prove to you they are comparable. They are comparable because on Pesach proper they're comparable. Everybody agrees that on Pesach proper you can burn Chometz Truma with Truma Tmeya. So you can burn Isser with Tumah. Albeit they're both D'Oraisa. But wait! If that's the case, you can burn Isser with Tumah because they're in the same continuum. And we know also you can burn that which is more stringent with that which is less stringent. Right? Because you can burn Tumah D'Oraisa with Tumah D'Oraisa as long as they're both D'Oraisa, even if one is more stringent than the other. So extrapolate from those two cases together that you can burn Tamei D'Oraisa with Isser D'Rabbanan. Again, if you can burn Tamei with Asur D'Oraisa, and you can burn Tamei with Tamei, more severe and less severe. So I have 3/4 of this cube, this square here. Just plug in the fourth corner. That I can burn Tamei D'Oraisa with Isser D'Rabbanan. Why you preclude that scenario? If every other scenario can burn together, so why preclude this one? So says more, you know what the answer is? The answer is you had a mistaken premise. Rabbi Yossi the Amora, you are wrong. All your questions are based on a mistake. Because you're asking on the basis of Bar Kapara. Ha! You're asking Rabbi Yochanan from Bar Kapara. Rabbi Yochanan is the one who holds that everything is D'Oraisa. So therefore your whole premise is incorrect. And you can all do all the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi is saying all the Mishnahs previously are talking about D'Oraisas and D'Oraisas. If they're all talking about D'Oraisas, how can you, Rabbi come and extrapolate from them that the Rabbanan of Truma Erev Pesach is sufficient to burn it with the Tuma D'Oraisa of Truma Tmeya? That leap is not true. If the previous Mishnah is for Taka Bar Kapara, until now we're talking about the Rabbanans and D'Oraisas, then the extrapolation is correct. But that's how we were talking about previously. Before we were talking according to Rabbi Yochanan. and Rabbi Yochanan said everything was d'oraisa till now, right? El bein zeh dvar Torah. Now it's a parallel sugi, basically the same thing over again, more abbreviated. As Rabbi Chia bar Bob Mintzur, Bar Shmeid Rabbi Yochanan, it's in Rabbi Yochanan, bein zeh dvar Torah. They're both d'oraisas, both that which is tamei with avatuma, that which is tamei with vladatuma. V'amaris, and I said, we said based on that, Yos tamon tumas Torah. So I understand the previous Mishnayos. You bring out which is tamei d'oraisa, which is tamei d'oraisa, even though at different levels. But here, is this a psul Torah in tumas Torah? In an Erev Pesach, is that a psul d'oraisa with a tuma d'oraisa? It's not. It's a psul d'rabbanan, right? So how can you bring them together? Begin kach. That's Rabbi Yossi over any amida. It's not amida. They can't extrapolate from one or the other. Now it says by the obvious following up question: the kasher Rabbi Yochanan al the Rabbi Meir v'ad the Rabbi Yossi over any amida. It's difficult now according to Rabbi Yochanan. What is the nekudas hamachlok? It's like an achronish kasha. What's the so? What's the machlok to remain Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi is absolutely correct. Rabbi Meir is comparing apples with oranges. Right? According to Rabbi Yochanan's perspective, all the previous Mishnayos are talking about d'oraisa and d'oraisa, higher level, lower level, but d'oraisa and d'oraisa. All of a sudden, Rabbi Meir wants to plug in a d'oraisa and a d'rabbanan to bring Chomet Erev Pesach with truma to Tamei d'oraisa. What kind of baloney is this? Right? L'kash Rabbi Yochanan ad Rabbi Meir. How do I say Rabbi Meir? Father Rabbi Yossi Amar any amida. Rabbi Yossi is correct when he says any amida. Now the Gemara asks the opposite question, Bar Kapora. I think the Gemara got reversed here, but just let me say it outside and we'll see it inside. What about according to Bar Kapora? According to Bar Kapora, Rabbi Yossi makes no sense. Right? According to Bar Kapora, Rabbi Yossi's Tan Rabbi Meir is incorrect. Because according to Bar Kapora, the previous Mishnayos explicitly allowed burning a d'oraisa with a d'rabbanan. D'oraisa that became tummy with avatuma, with a d'rabbanan that which became tummy with a vladatuma, that which touched the rishon. So of course that is correct. Of course you can burn chometz and Erev Pesach together with the Rabbanan, with Truma Tmeah. That's what the previous Mishnayos were permitting. What does Rabbi Yossi fell on his head? Rabbi Yossi says, Eini Amida. What do you mean Eini Amida? It's precisely the Mida we were saying till now. Okay, now again, as I said, the kasha is reversed. So actually in the third line down, you have the kasha. The first line is the teretz. Somehow got reversed in the Gemara. Kasha the Bar Kapora, I'm going to the third line. The Kasha the Bar Kapora, Kasha Bar Kapora. The exact opposite question is typical Bar Kapora. Out of Rabbi Yossi. What does Rabbi Yossi say? That's what Rabbi Meir said. We learned from them. It's absolutely correct. Rabbi Yossi fell on his head. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Meir fell on his head. He's comparing cases which are d'oraisa to cases of d'oraisa d'rabbanan. According to Bar Kapara, Rabbi Yossi fell on his head. He's saying that obviously the previous case is d'oraisa d'rabbanan, and therefore it's logical, like Rabbi Meir, to extrapolate to a case of d'oraisa d'rabbanan Erev Pesach. What's Rabbi Yossi babbling about? He says the opposite. So going back to the first line, first the Gemara explains Bar Kapara. Sarah Bar Kapara, Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Bar Kapara is like Shimon Lakish. Rabbi Shimon Lakish Amar Midiv Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Yeshua. No, that's only if you assume that Rabbi Meir was learning from Rabbi Chaim Skanakonim and from Rabbi Akiva. Then Itaka is a good riot. Itaka is a good riot. And Rabbi Yossi can't argue on that riot. Rabbi Yossi was arguing because he understood that Rabbi Meir's medayik for Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua, remember that case where you have the truma flowing downstream. In that case, Rabbi Yeshua says you can be matame biyad. You can be matame the truma in order to keep it away from the chulin down below, higher being matame, but it's lost anyway, right? So in that case, Rabbi Yossi is saying Eini Yamida, and the Gemara he's saying you can't extrapolate from that case to our case. Why? Because over there, by the case of why not? I think the Gemara is going to say later on. Oh yeah, that's what Gemara is going to say. Right. Very good. I forgot. Yeah, it's the bottom line issue. It's a half-state issue. Here it's not a hefsed. Right, that's what I was going to say. Very good. To the Bavli. You remember it from the Bavli. Right. That's exactly what the Bavli says. It's a bottom line issue. You're going to lose your chulin. So we let you save it by being matami the truma. Here you don't stand to lose anything, so therefore burn them separately. Very good. I forgot. I saw it today. You saw it a few months ago. Okay. So but now so that's why you say in the Amida Taka. Where we to learn from Rabbi Chia going according to Rabbi Kiva would have been a very good comparison. You could do it the rice of the Rabbanan. But if you learn from Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua, so in that he says no comparison there. If you let the truma flow downstream to the chuni, you're going to lose everything. Here, so therefore, for the bottom line, they allowed you to be matami the truma. Here, what's the bottom line issue? Burn them separately, 2 different piles of wood. Hi, it costs a little bit extra wood. Okay, for that kind of hefsei, they weren't chayshish. Very good. That's the answer Bar Kapora. Now, what's the answer Rabbi Yochanan? Amar Rabbi Avin, the fifth line down, Rabbi Meir Kedaite. Rabbi Meir, now again, according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Meir fell on his head. He's comparing case which is the Deraisa D'Rabbanan, the book case for both the Deraisa. Says more no. Rabbi Meir didn't fall on his head. Rabbi Meir is like his line of reason. Rabbi Meir machmir midivreim k'divrei Torah. Rabbi Meir holds Rabbanans are just as stringent as the Doraisas. That's why he says that if you can burn 2 Doraisas together, you can burn a Doraisa and the Rabbanan together as well. He holds Rabbanan is equivalent to Doraisa. How do we know he holds that way? In Ashkechon, where do we find in means like where? In Ashkechon, where do we find Rabbi Meir machmer divrei Torah? Where do you find it's machmer Rabbanan like a Doraisa? By the way, you know the famous Machlokas Ramban and Rambam, where every D'Rabbanan is the Doraisa because of low sorcery. Ram holds every D'Rabbanan is the Doraisa because it says the Torah said you have to listen to everything they say. So in essence, every Doraisa becomes a D'Rabbanan. So that's really what Rabbi Meir is saying. We're saying D'Rabbanan is also like Doraisas. How do we know do we see that? Where do we see his machmer Doraisa like D'Rabbanan? Rabbi Chanina said, Kai Tzitana, like we learned over there in the Sechtanida. Haroya Kesem, a woman who sees a stain. Harezim Ukukel, she's ruined. The Chosheshes Mishum Zoiv, she has to assume she's a Zova, Divrei Meir. Even though Kesem is only the Rabbanan, because the rice you have to feel the flow out of your body. The Chachamim Omrim, Ein B'Chsamim Mishum Tuzov. You can't make a Rabbanan like a Doraisa. A Kesem is not the same thing as Ziva. Okay, Tamatzrina. We learned over there. Now, new issue. It was related, but new. Tamatzrina learned over there. Chavisho Truma. If you have a barrel full of Truma, Shenolat Safek Tuma. Now you have a Safek about it. Rabbi Lezer Reiman, Samunachs B'Makom Turufa. It was before in a place where it was not safeguarded. Yinichana was in a place which was exposed. Yichana Makom Mutzah, put it out in a secluded place. In other words, even though it's a Safek Tameh, you still have to preserve it as Truma. Right? Imay saw Megula, if it was veiled, Yechasena covered. You have to watch it. Rabbi Yosha Omer, Rabbi Yeshua says the exact opposite. It's only a Safek, but you could be reckless with it now. If before it was in a secluded place, you can't put it in an open place. If it was concealed, you go let and reveal it. Gamliel says don't change it, leave it the way it is. Okay, so those are 3 opinions as to what to do with it. Now that's all a Bryce or a Mishnah actually. Now the Gemara starts commenting. All 3 hold Tluya to Sofa, even though it's Tluya to Sofa, you can't burn it. Because each one says you have to do something else before you burn it. One says you got to safeguard it, mamish. The other says you be reckless with it, but you still can't burn it. Third says status quo, but you still can't burn it. So none of them hold you can burn Truma Tluya in and of itself. We're not talking about Pesach here, of course. But you just can't burn it. Now, Chevraya, the Chaverim in the base matters, they wanted to say, B'Shem Rabbi Lezer, they said name Rabbi Lezer. Actually, Chavis HaRishona, the first barrel is like Rabbi Yossi. Now, what's Chavis HaRishona? The first barrel. So the carbonator brings down a Chavis which has a Safek Tuma. That's our case over here. The case we just mentioned. The Chavis which got Safek Tuma. that you can't burn it is like Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi says, Eini Amida. Rabbi Yossi says you cannot burn Tamei with Tor, even though the Tor is an issue of Chametz and Pesach. So to the whole Kluya you can't burn. It's similar to Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah. The more it's going to reject this. But that's how the Chevrai want to say that which you can't burn Kluya is like Rabbi Yossi. Chavi Hashniya, the second Mishnah, Brisa, which is not brought down here, but that's the Brisa about the Truma flowing downstream. That's like Rabbi Meir, because there it says you can be Metame Biyad. You can be Metame Truma Torah Biyad. That's like Rabbi Meir, who says you're allowed to be Metame. That's Chevrai B'Shem Rabbi Lezer. The Chevrai themselves said, Chavis Harishoina Rabbi Yossi. The first Chavis like Rabbi Yossi. The late, not only that, late Rabbi Meir Moedah, but Rabbi Meir wouldn't concede to it. They would say, Tluya you can burn. Chavis Hashniya, the second barrel, is like Rabbi Meir, and that's why it can be Matami, the Teruma Torah which is flowing downstream before it hits the bottom. The late Rabbi Yossi Moedah, and Rabbi Yossi not conceded, so you're not allowed to do that. Amar Lon Rabbi Yossi, so that's Rabbi Yossi again, the Tana. Amar Lon Rabbi Yossi, so Rabbi Yossi the Amora said to the Chevrai in the base Medrash, Chamun Ma'atun Amrin. See what you're saying, meaning what you're saying is wrong. What did you say? Chavis Harishoina Rabbi Yossi. That which it says that when Truma became Savek Tameh, like Rabbi Yossi, you have to preserve it. Meaning that you guys hold, only Rabbi Yossi holds you have to preserve it. But Rabbi Meir sorted. But like Rabbi Meir you can burn it, and like Rabbi Shimon, we haven't yet seen, we'll see it on the base imminently, also sorted. If that's the case, Yerbu, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shimon, or Rabbi Yossi. Let's pass it. Why don't we pass the creator Rabbi Shimon over Rabbi Yosef? He's sorry. We should pass it. You have to burn it. What are Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel arguing? What to do with it? Burn it. The majority of previous Amotanoim had held that you burn it, according to you guys, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon. So it passed them like the rove. That one should burn it. So what are they arguing what to do with it? Just burn it. So it's obviously, even Rabbi Meir cannot concede that you burn through Truma Kluya, because we would have to pass him like him, because that would make a rope. And the subsequent Tanoim, Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Lezer, couldn't argue what to do with about it. Now Lieberman takes out the next 4 words and puts them later on the page. Let's turn the page.
I just think it's a little strange. Just because there's a slight majority, 3 against 2.
3 against 1. 2 against 1. Oh, is it 3 against 2? No. It's Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon against Rabbi Yossi. Yeah, we're not taking into account Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua, and Gamliel. Right, we're assuming that they all labored after the earlier machlokas.
It's 2 against 1.
2 against 1.
And we're saying that compels us.
Right.
Paskin by the majority.
Yes. That's what we're saying. Sorry, I don't make it up. That's what it says. Here.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, I think it's a
Right. But that's his question. All right. Now, furthermore, Mimad Anan Chamun, Chamyon, Rabbanin, when that which we say, Rabbanin, that the rabbis, Uvda As Kameon, when a Maisa comes, Asir means comes, like Asa. When a Maisa comes in front of them, Vinaram and Izil Toli. They say, go be Tolit. So clearly, they're not paskening like you hold, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon are saying. Even though that should be the rove and that should be the standard of Psak. So obviously, something you're saying is wrong. Hey, and it says more now, hey, Nashkachan Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shimon or myself, and where we see Rabbi Shimon says they could burn Truma Tluya. There, I'll tell you where. Good question. Over here we found it. Mother, that which it says, Moeder, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Shesort min Zulatzma. That which it says, Rabbi Lezer concedes to Rabbi Yeshua that you burn the Truma, which is Toli, and the Chometz. The Chometz which is Toli, and the Chometz which is Tameh. separately, and that Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Shanya, Rabbi Shimon holds differently. Rabbi Shimon holds that in fact you burn them together because you can burn Tluya. So that's where he saw Rabbi Shimon holds that you burn Tluya. Now, that's stage one of his argument. Says Gemara, in Tamar Leisarai Meir Tluya. And stage two of his argument is, again, you guys want to say that our mayor doesn't know that the concept of Tluya, he holds any suffix you burn right away. Okay, let me ask you about this. V'atani, didn't we learn Truma Tluya? And if you have Truma, which is Tolui, and the next word is a typo, the Korban Eidah says Utmeya, you have Truma Tluya Utmeya, Sarvin also Erev Shabbos Yichashecha. If Erev Pesach comes out on Shabbos, so you burn them on Yud Gimel just before. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, this is an excruciatingly difficult Gemara. Hope you did. Okay, so if you have Truma to Tluya and Tmeya, they're to Tluya and Tmeya. Totally is Safek and Tomei is definitely Tomei. You have to wait till the last moment on Yud Gimel just before Shabbos begins to burn them together. You can't burn together earlier in the day. If Rabbi Meir held Tluya, Safek Tuma you burn, why do you have to wait till the last moment? You guys held Rabbi Meir holds you can burn Safek Tuma. You don't have to leave it dangling. So why wait till the last moment? Erev Shabbos Yichashecha Divrei Rabbi Meir. Chacham say you don't burn it, you flush down the toilet the next day and you dalit, right? Because you don't have to burn it, you do beer b'chol dover. Rabbi Zakuri says Gemara, no, I have an answer on that. I'll tell you why you wait till the last moment. B'tluya she'ein daito lahashil oleh. This is talking about the a case there where you could burn it earlier. Where can you burn it earlier? Only by Truma, by Tluya, which you do not have in mind to be marked neder on it. Yeah. In other words, really Rabbi Meir holds you can burn Tluya. But where can you burn Tluya, Safek Tuma? Only when you're sure you're not going to be matir neder on it. What does it mean to be matir neder on Truma? What does the Truma then become? Because baking something in Truma is like a neder. It's like a shvua, like a neder. And that's what it's a verbal declaration. So you can actually be matir neder and reverse it. But so says the Gemara, that which Rabbi Meir said, Tluya, you should wait the last possible moment to burn, is in a case where you might be shoel on it. Because you might be shoel on it, then it becomes chulin. Comes chulin, you can eat it. So that's why you wait till the last possible moment. What's the problem?
Well, then in effect you haven't taken from this.
The Gemara's going to address that. So when can you burn earlier when you don't have a mind to be shoel on it? He said, he said, so too said Rabbi Yossi, that one second, maybe I got that wrong, just a second. Right, no, I'm right. So Amar Le B'Chedim Rabbi Yossi, Kom Hadar Kamin Hacha, that which it says you could burn it earlier in the day. I got it. Rabbi Meir in our Mishnah is the one who said that you could burn the Tluya earlier. You can burn surfing Truma Torah Matmei B'Pesach on Erev Pesach, right? So we have a contradiction. It's more than I made it out a moment ago. It's a contradiction. Rabbi Meir here says you can burn Torah Matmei on Erev Pesach, and here he's saying that you can't even burn Tluya with Tomei. How do you reconcile the two, the Mishnah with the Brisa? If you can burn Torah with Tomei, anytime in Erev Pesach, doesn't say at the last possible moment. Why here does he say wait till the last possible moment to burn even Tluya with Tmeya. Makes no sense. You're being more stringent with Tluya than you are with Torah. So it says on that, Rabbi Yitzchak Raimona, Tipater, our Mishnah is talking about the Tluya she'ein daitu lishoila. When even Tluya, when you don't have a mind to reverse the process. So then you can burn any time. Now, what's a case where you can't? There's certain cases where you can't reverse the process. That's what you mentioned. For example, you already ate the rest of the grain. So now, if you reverse the process, you would have eaten tevel and mafreya. So in that case, you clearly are not allowed to reverse the process. Then you can burn the tluya anytime you want on Erev Pesach, because there's no way you can ever reverse the process. No way it's ever going to become mutter. But what do we But here Rameir said, wait till the last possible moment, because that's about tluya, which you might be shoyal on. And if you might be shoyal on and reverse the process, so then wait till the last possible moment. Right? Vitani came and learned this in a brisa. Truma tluya sha'amru tahayrahi. And truma tluya, that they said it's tahayra. Now here the word Torah is terribly, terribly misleading. Truma Torah, which is tahayra, means it's truma, and it's never going to revert back to chulin. What's truma tluya, where it's tahayra? Not that it's tahar, but rather it's irrevocable truma. Don't ask me why they call that Torah. It's a very unfortunate choice of words. But what's truma tluya, where you're never going to revert it back? Right? Well, truma tluya sh'amru tahayrahi, where he said, where you're never going to revert it back, harezu tmeya. So that's for sure tame, right? And then therefore you can burn anytime Erev Pesach. But if it's a case where it's not tar, you know what tar here must mean? Remember the beginning of brachas in the Bavli? Tahar yoima means when the day is complete, right? So here too it means truma tahira means where it's complete truma. Truma. So here it says truma tahira, where it's complete truma, meaning you can never revoke the process because you already ate the rest of the grain. Harezu tmeya, then that's as if it's done. You can burn it anytime Erev Pesach. You don't have to wait till the last possible moment. But if you say I want to leave it, maybe I'll be sure on it and reverse the process. That's like Torah, and you can only burn at the last possible moment, right before sunset, or right before it becomes asr. So says the Gemara, my kedon, how do you set up this brisa, which says Erev Shabbos, you burn it right before nightfall? Rabbi Yossi Rebun, tipater shenola la safek tuma im dibdume chama. I have another interpretation of it. The truth is, I don't know what tluya is. Sometimes tluya might be considered tar, sometimes tluya might be considered tame. This price is not right either way, because maybe this price is talking about where the shiur occurred on it right before sunset. The lace that showed me no klum, so you can't learn out the shita meir at all from this. In other words, you want to say maybe learn out from here the shita meir, and then you wanted to say it depends whether you're going to be shol on it or not shol on it. Says Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi Rebun, the Amoira, this price is going to be talking about a third case altogether. The case where it became Tomei or Toli right before nightfall. So that's why you don't burn it till right before nightfall. Not because Toli you can't burn. Maybe Toli you can burn. This is talking about where the scenario was where it became Tomei right before nightfall. Alright, that's the first brisa. There's a first chavis. Va'atun amen, you also said chavis, and here's a major typo, the carbonated pointed out. Va'atun amen, hashniya Rabbi Meir, that the second chavis, where it's going off the riverbank, is like Rabbi Meir, the lace Rabbi Yossi might have done. Rabbi Yossi doesn't concede that. It's not true either. I'll prove to you it's not true from another typo. V'atai, didn't we learn? Ba'medvar mamurim, when is that true? That that you're allowed to be matameit bibor, it should be she'ein bo k'dei la'alos. We're allowed to be matameit where there's not enough chulin in the board to be mavatal the truma. So if the truma falls in, it's going to answer everything. It's not enough to be mavatal. Bibor she'yesh bo k'dei la'alos, again it's a typo. When there is enough to be mavatal, afilu koshu asla tamas, you're not allowed to be matameit at all. You have to preserve its tahara. V'ink Rabbi Meiri, if you hold that this whole price is going to Rabbi Meir, who says you'll have to be matami yadayim, who bor sheyesh bo k'dei lalos, who bor she'en bo k'dei lalos. Right? What do we care? No matter what, you'll have to be matame. Afilu kosho latamos. You know how to be matame. What difference does it make? Right? Meir holds wherever it's imminently going to become tame, you'll have to be matame previously. So therefore, what difference does it make whether it's going to be bottle or not bottle? No matter what, it can be matame biyadayim. So how can you say it's only going like Rabbi Meir, not like Rabbi Yossi? If it's like Rabbi Meir, not like Rabbi Yossi, we shouldn't pay attention to whether it's going to become bottle or not. Even if it's good, we should just be allowed to be matame, period. Because momentarily it's going to become tame regardless. And furthermore, if od min adah, it's getting late. We'll have to come back to this tomorrow. But od min adah is another raya that this price is not going like Rabbi Meir. We'll come back to that tomorrow, and when I review it, maybe we'll make things clearer from today. It's not my fault today if it was unclear. It's a very difficult Gemara.